Good morning, children. Welcome back to EVS class. I am Vanya Anand, your EVS teacher. We had done the chapter 1, the ecosystem. I gave you all the written work too. Some of you must have got the notebooks, some of you haven't. The school authorities will reach you soon and you will be able to get your book set very soon. You don't need to worry if you have not got it. Whenever you get it, you can do your work in that. If you face any problem in the chapter, in the previous chapter, the ecosystem, you can ask me as many times as you want. I will clarify all your doubts. So don't worry. Today, we are going to start a new chapter, that is the human body. Children, when we come to the name of the chapter, the human body, first of all, we need to talk about what is exactly the human body. The human body is the structure of a human being. It is the structure of all the bones and muscles and also the internal organs and the external organs. When they all assemble together and they function and coordinate with each other, then they all constitute the human body. They consist of small cells. Cell, you will be learning about cells in the higher classes. Cell is the smallest unit of the body. So the human body comprises of very tiny cells and tissues. When all the cells, tissues, organs and the bones, the muscles, they all comprise together the human body. There are many organs in a human body. You all can see in this picture, there are so many organs in this body. You all can see the brain protected by the skull, the windpipe, the lungs, the kidneys, the muscles, the bones, and these red and blue lines on the right arm of the body is the artery and the vein. These are the blood vessels you will be learning about in the higher classes. They are responsible for carrying the blood from one body part to another body part. Okay? So today we'll be discussing about some of the important internal organs. The internal organs of the body are present inside our body. The organs which we cannot see, but they function, they coordinate with the full body like all the external organs. Like the eyes, the nose, they function, we can feel, we can see those organs, but we cannot see the internal organs. We can name some internal organs: the brain, the lungs, the heart. All these organs we cannot see, but these all are present inside our body and they are always functioning inside our body. If one organ is also missing in our body will not be able to survive. Our body will not be able to function and coordinate with the rest of the body parts. So, presence of all the body parts is really important. The first body part and the foremost and important body part which we are going to discuss is the internal organ brain. Brain is the organ which coordinates all the functions, all the activities of the body. Have you ever thought who tells you to remove your hand from a hot iron? Nobody. Your brain. Have you ever thought who told you that you need to sneeze? Your brain. So all the activities, may it be thinking, walking, sneezing or anything, it all depends on the brain. Whatever you do, you think, you imagine, you read, you write, everything your brain tells you to do. Okay, so the brain is the main part of our body which is responsible for our day-to-day activities, and without the brain you are nothing. If the brain stops working, your body stops working. If the brain works nicely, your body works in a coordinative manner. Now we'll be discussing about the basic parts of the brain. The brain can be divided into three parts, namely cerebrum, cerebellum and the brainstem. As you can see in this picture, the cerebrum is the biggest part of the brain. The cerebellum is the small part of the brain, and then there is a brainstem. Like we have a stem in the plants, same way the brain also has a stem which connects the brain to the rest of the body. The full brain is protected by the skull. Skull is a combination of bones. If you touch your head, you may feel that your head is really very hard. You cannot touch your brain because the skull is protecting the brain. If we talk about cerebrum, the cerebrum is the biggest part of the brain which is responsible for the working of all the sense organs. Smelling, tasting, touching, or hearing and seeing. So these are all the things which are totally dependent on the cerebrum. Thinking, imagining, these all are the functions of cerebrum. Coming to the small part of the brain, that is the cerebellum, it is the little brain which is responsible for the muscle movement, for the balance when you walk, for learning new things, for imagining and new innovative techniques. So cerebellum is responsible for all the balances and the learning of new things. And then comes the brainstem. The brainstem is also known as medulla. Yesterday I shared a video in which the brainstem was told to be as medulla. Brainstem and medulla is both same. They both are same. So the brain stem is responsible for all the involuntary actions. Involuntary actions means the actions that do not need the permission of our body, that do not need our permission. Like the digestion. When we eat food, all the important nutrients are absorbed in our body. Who tells to do that? The brain, or the brain stem tells us to do that. The breathing, nobody tells us to breathe. Come on, breathe. Come on, breathe. Do you keep speaking like that to your own body? No. Breathing helps itself in our body. And who does that? Brainstem is responsible for that. Our heart keeps on beating all the time, and that's why we can survive in the ecosystem. So who tells the heart to beat? Who tells the heart to pump all the blood to all the body parts of the body? The brain or the brainstem. So, in short, we can also say that brain is responsible for the full control and coordination of all the muscles, bones, our thinking powers, imagination powers, our sense organs, everything. All the essential body movements are totally dependent on the brain. From moving your eyelashes to all the reflex actions also. If you are removing your hand from a pointed needle, that is also supported by the brain. So these are the major parts of the brain. I repeat again: cerebrum, cerebellum and the brainstem. Children, this is a picture which is also there in your book. I wanted to tell you and explain you about the brain and spinal cord, which is the extension of brainstem. Brainstem is continued in the body in the form of spinal cord. You can all see at the top there is skull, which is protecting our brain. This side you can only see cerebrum. They have not labeled cerebellum, but there is a small brain near the cerebrum which can be called as cerebellum. Then there is brainstem, which is extended to spinal cord, and when spinal cord is coming down, it is protected by the vertebral column or the backbone. The vertebral column is also known as the backbone. The spinal cord is protected by a number of bones which is together called the vertebral column or the backbone. And now what does the spinal cord do? The spinal cord connects the brain to the rest of the body. It transmits messages. Transmits means it sends messages from the brain to the rest of the body and vice versa. Vice versa means we are getting the messages from the brain, means the rest of the body is getting the messages from the brain, and then the body is responding and sending the messages back again to the brain. So spinal cord is a link between the brain and the rest of the body parts. The spinal cord is also responsible for controlling and monitoring our reflexes. What do you mean by reflexes, kids? Reflex actions are the actions or the movements of our body when we don't have even a single second to think about it, and then also your body responds to it. I will give you an example of reflex action. If you are going to touch a hot iron, what will be your first response? You will instantly remove your hand from the hot iron. You will not keep waiting and let somebody come and let you know that you should not touch that hot iron. No, you will not wait. Your brain instantly gets to know that that hot iron will harm you. So you will instantly remove that hand. You sneeze. You don't know that you're going to sneeze, but still you sneeze. That is a reflex action. When you pinpoint on a needle which is really sharp, you instantly remove your finger because it pricks you, because it is pointed. If you touch the stem of the rose flower, you can feel the thorns. You instantly remove your hands or fingers. So these are all the reflex actions which are totally controlled by the spinal cord. The next system or the process which we are going to study about is the respiratory system, and the process is respiration, and the respiration is done in our lungs. First of all, I would like to tell you some of the basic parts which are involved in the respiratory system. What do you mean by respiration? Respiration means taking in oxygen and giving out carbon dioxide, and the body part which is responsible for this is lungs. The body parts which are responsible for the respiration are nose, mouth, trachea, the bronchus, the lungs, the bronchioles, which are the smaller tubes of bronchus, and the air sacs or the alveoli. So these are the important components of the respiratory system. I will be sharing a link of YouTube with you all in today's homework on the portal as well as WhatsApp group, in which the process of respiration and how the respiratory system works is explained very nicely. Do see it, kids. It's time to end our session. Thank you so much. We'll meet you soon.